I'd like to welcome you back to Vox Terra. Today, Fox News. Coverage of the first Republican primary debate. But where was Donald Trump? No, that's not the topic. The topic is climate change. Fox played a clip from this young man, Alexander Diaz of Catholic University.
Polls consistently show that young people's number one issue is climate change. How will you, as both President of the United States and leader of the Republican Party, calm their fears that the Republican Party doesn't care about climate change?
Now, first thing I want you to notice is that question about climate change, sincere concern for climate change, came from a student at a Catholic university. And I want that noted because I think in the heads of many people around the planet and in Estados Unidos, it's the United States to you English speakers, you're thinking everything's really black and white. The Catholic Church is on this conservative side and others are on this liberal side. But there's actually a way of thinking that transcends or sort of overlaps with both. Remember, it's the Pope who wrote Laudato Si', this encyclical on climate change. Well, let's come back to the main topic. The host asked for a show of hands, who believes humans have an influence in heating the planet. Now, what she didn't say is who believes that the excessive burning of fossil fuels is what's setting the heating of our planet in motion.
So we want to start on this with a show of hands. Do you believe in human behavior is causing climate change? Raise your hand if you do.
Well, infamously, Ron DeSantis dodged the question.
Look, we're not school children. Let's have the debate. I mean, I'm happy to take it to start. Alexander, so do you want to raise your hand?
Denied raising his hand.
Is that a yes? Or is that a yes? Is that a hand raise?
You do not.
But nobody appeared to have raised their hand or took that one on. No one was willing to take that stand. Why? Well, I've shown you before at Open Secrets, the lion's share of fossil fuel money goes to the Republican Party. I've heard articles before about how the Koch industry or the Koch brothers in the past funded primary challenges to Republicans who dared speak up on climate change. Mike Pence himself would identify as a fellow Christian and should have took the kids' challenge, instead sat back.
As somebody that's handled disaster.
But worse, what came after Ron DeSantis was Vivek Ramaswamy.
I think it was a hand raise for him, and it's my hands are in my pockets.
No,
because
no,
the climate change agenda is a
raise a
hoax.
hand.
Let us be honest as Republicans. I'm the only person on the stage who isn't bought and paid for, so I can say this. The climate change agenda is a hoax. The climate change agenda is a hoax, and we have to declare independence for it.
Well, let's start off with this hoax concept that's been floated around out there. Au contraire, my frere, the hoax is more likely that it's a hoax is the hoax. What do I mean by that? Look, petrochemical fossil fuel is the most powerful industry on the face of the earth, or at least one of them, and have been historically. Millions in donations to politicians, influence among media outlets, and exposed, yet these exposés largely ignored for having funded a prolonged campaign of climate change confusion or denial, as well as blocking action, including blocking transitions towards renewable energy. Next is anti-carbon is a wet blanket.
And the reality is, the anti-carbon agenda is the wet blanket on our economy.
Well, that follows along with arguments I've been hearing over my whole lifetime before climate change was the main issue, but other environmental protections were an issue. Jobs versus the environment. It ain't like that. It's what kind of job. Are you going to keep employing people, paying them almost needlessly to just poison our earth, pump it full of carcinogens and greenhouse gases, or create more meaningful employment by fixing what's clearly a broken system, a system where the cost of pollution is not really factored into the price of that product? And actually, I did videos for you in the past citing studies to, I think it was Oxford, that a green stimulus package creates more jobs, more wealth for average people than does carbon intense. And more people are dying, he said, from bad climate policy than from climate change.
And so the reality is more people are dying of bad climate change policies than they are of actual climate change.
Well, I don't know what he means by that, and that's part of the problem with this vague talk. Maybe he's referring to those false claims that it was renewable energy that left Texas in a lurch when climate change caused that polar vortex or that Arctic air to slump down there and toss Texas into a deep freeze. Well, my understanding was really frozen natural gas pipelines that did that. But we don't know what he meant. What I do know is I've did a video for you in the past citing The Lancet, a premier medical journal, saying that 9 million people die a year of pollution. Well, many of those same pollutants, or most of them, are also heating our planet. But they're talking about direct deaths. And that study is basically ignored by our media, which is connected to all these large businesses. We have a cancer epidemic, and all this fossil fuel burning I've cited to you before to Union of Concerned Scientists in a video I did on engine idling, which I was trying to be funny in that video, by the way. That auto, bus, diesel, all these exhausts we breathe in are harmful to our bodies in other ways. That auto exhaust contains benzene, a known carcinogen. But that dumping 40 billion tons of carbon annually into the year ain't just killing us through breathing it in and the toxic byproducts of the processing and refining of all that petroleum. Think toxic waste sites, spills, also all largely underreported, but it is creating heat-trapping gases that are heating our planet and setting the unraveling of our what were stable climate systems in motion. Well, I hope you found this video interesting, good food for thought. Please make sure you're subscribed to my channel, you're commenting, you're liking. Click that notification bell, you know when I'm putting up a new video. And as always, and thank you for donating at Patreon. I could definitely use some more support for this channel. My two patrons, Bella Grossi, Environmental Coffee House. And as always, until next time, peace be with you.